Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Games Industry Executive Summary. This is take 2. I'm Casey, and with us we have the Dashing,
Here.
and
Big
then
Dash.
and then we have the amazing Manu Rosier. So,
The
Dave,
pixelated Manu Rosier.
our biggest fan, commented yesterday. He was like, "Hey, Dave said normally Casey would say the Dashing, and then and then he didn't say your name in the last episode." But hey,
Yeah, that stands to reason. Yeah,
yes.
I remain Dave.
Welcome on board, gentlemen. It's good to be back. I was sick last week, so I'm happy that you guys took over. Of course, before we dive in, just quickly for those who are listening, watching, doing all the things everywhere, please like, subscribe, spread, do whatever you need to do, please, to help us get more viewership on the show. But yeah, guys, how have you been?
I've been silksonged, man. I've been silksonged.
Are you done with it, or where are you with it?
No, it's too much, man. It feels like, I Hollow Knight's one of my favorite games ever, and it had this super difficult DLC. And as we all know, Silksong began as DLC for Hollow Knight, and so I feel like that's really a part of that's what happened here. Like it was some of their super difficult DLC, and it continued to be super difficult. And really, I don't know. I really still like a lot of it. World's cool, and even a lot of the bosses and areas are really cool. But it's the difficulty is really at the end of the day a pacing problem. That is very one note. It just feels like a series of blockers, and you fight to pick it past one, you hit another one, and so the flow is not great. And that means that the world doesn't feel contiguous or alive necessarily because you don't get to experience it necessarily.
I see. Manu, are you playing it as well, or?
I'm busy these days. I have a lot of interactions with various people, press outlet on the back of the release of the free version of our global game market report. Good traction, good discussions. I also keep writing some stuff when
You've been very active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I wrote one that I put in the newsletter, which is about the PC for the alpha generation, and I think it's quite an interesting trend. And I have one quote that I'm very proud of, and I call it "one rig to rule them all." And I find it was nice. Just basically the PC has become the center of the entertainment. And
I see.
Have a look.
Yeah, I mean my TV at home has always just run off a PC.
Yeah,
there's no need for anything else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, do the modern generations even care? I mean, how when you talk about screen time, do you think where are they spending their time?
Yeah, on their own device. And I would say the only moment they watch TV is when we decided we're gonna watch a movie together in the living room. Yeah, interesting stuff. I really like. I also did some editing. I mean, I up my skills. If you can see the picture above it, it's really like the best I could do with paint. You have Henry Cavill there. I will also kind of. But if you go up, you will notice how much I've improved my. Yeah, you can always like see how much I did with the other one, the Frodo.
I mean, I feel like
this is kind of a I leveled up my skills of playing with pictures. I can combine stuff. And just for reference, the alpha in the title, the picture is from Slay the Spire, which because there is a card that's called Alpha. So that's a reference for the experts, the people knowing.
Yeah, not necessarily a Gen Alpha title, that one.
Yeah, which and basically I just what am I playing? Because I don't have a lot of time to do a lot of long session. I'm playing Slay the Spire across the day when I have some idle time. And I finally got the achievement of finishing the game under 20 minutes. I actually did it in 14 minutes, which apparently is like top 120 in the world or something like that. So I was just happy.
Nice.
Good job, Manu.
Yeah.
I've never done it. I worry I get addicted to it, but it definitely seems to be a game that a lot of industry people turn to when they don't have a lot of time.
It's interesting. I actually
Absolutely. Yeah.
installed the game recently.
The other
I
one,
reinstalled.
the other one when I do short session is a Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. So it's the survivor game of Deep Rock Galactic. It is just released in version 1. It was in early access before, and it's an incredible game. It's like $9 or $10. You can spend hours and hours. And I've never played the original Deep Rock Galactic game. I've never played the FPS.
Original is really good. Really
I
good.
just got hooked through this survivor game, and it has so many layers, and it's just so rewarding. Yeah, so that's what I've been playing, and I've
So
been
how has it evolved? Oh, sorry.
yeah, go.
I was gonna say, how has it evolved things from Vampire Survivors, which is most of my reference point for this genre?
There, it's kind of similar. It visually, it's not pixel stuff. It's really refined, but it run on most machine. You have different classes. I think it's very similar to Vampire Survivor when you think about it. But what have they introduced now is equipment. So not just the class and the weapon that you can upgrade, but also equipment. There is a new mode where you have to escort a drilling machine. So it's just like a horizontal progression. It's not like exploring a map. It's really about horizontal progression, and you have to stay around. So that's cool. I think that the game is doing well, and I'm very happy about it. It's really good. And then finally, I play a bit also, but that was before the weekend of Hell is Us. Hell is Us. Well, I think we talked last week about it, Dave. Probably.
Yeah, I just bought it actually like right before this because I remember talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta try that.
Yeah,
I think that'd
it's
be a more
it's
productive use of my time.
it's cool one, but that's when I play when I have more time. When I have I have a longer session because I've realized that when I start playing it, I don't really want to stop because there is a lot of exploration, there is a lot of stories and secret and mysteries unfolding. So it's unfortunately it was released on the same day as Silksong, but it's to be fair, it's quite a good game. It has elements of Souls like game, but who doesn't at this point? But it's not
Mm.
really combat heavy.
Yeah,
I think it's more into the story that unfolds, and that doesn't give you the clue that you have to find a clue. You have then to find some combination, some codes and stuff like that. So it's the I don't know how you say that in English. Very from the outside, it's very difficult to understand what is happening unless you really pay attention. You
we've
take
lost
notes.
Manu.
We lost Manu.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
very. Do you know
he
what
was
is
super
very?
pixelated, so it seems possibly related to that.
He did have some issues with electricity at home. Dave, do you know anything about this game, by the way? Hell is
Yeah,
Us?
my friends, my Discord guys have been super into it. Again, I just bought it moments ago, so maybe I'll dive in later today after some work. But I mean, it looks super advanced. If what Manu is saying is that it's all about sort of sublimated narrative, it's yeah. There's Manu texting us. And exploration and clues and that kind of thing. It seems like it might actually scratch that Silksong song itch that I was looking for without being Silksong. So I'm excited to get that going.
Silksong is still though by like top 5 on Steam, which is pretty crazy.
I know, especially. I mean,
Does
it's
that
so
does
hard
it
for
make
you to imagine
sense?
all the people playing this are like successfully enjoying and progressing this game. He's back.
He is back.
Yes,
Hello.
very
We'll
correct.
let you back in the conversation, but we're just discussing. Like,
Yeah,
I'm still
Silksong's
surprised.
still at 106. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, it bug. I can't imagine that all the people who have bought and played Silksong are like successfully progressing and enjoying this game. That is really difficult to imagine.
You can check the achievements, huh? Where you will see probably how many people have already been there to the act that.
Yeah, I would like. Is there an achievement for the last judge? I think it might be called Judged or something like that. That's the
Uh-huh.
end of Act One, and that'll give you an indication as who's getting past
47%.
47. That's not bad, really. But still, that's the end of Act One, right? So that's
How many hours
rest of
is
these
that?
people have not.
Mm-hmm.
And so 75.1 fourth chorus, that's one of the kind of the first larger scale bosses. Yeah, and so you see, and then 58.6 with Widow, which is kind of
Sorry, Dave.
again, one
How
of
many
the
hours would you be in if you reach that point?
Judge, I don't know, 15. I
Wow,
mean, obviously it depends.
that's amazing.
Yeah, no, these are not bad stats. And
Huh.
let's see.
There
I
is
mean, so if you go down a little more,
yeah.
so the first boss is the what was the Bell Beast, which was a little higher up there. And that so 12% is the number of people that are basically either haven't played or just sort of bounced right off of it,
Just bought it and have it on.
which is again that's not a bad stat. These do look about right, really.
Okay, well, that's really cool. I mean, the only feedback I got from my brother was that it's more of the same, so it's not as I guess exciting.
Yeah, again, there's super hard stuff in Hollow Knight too, but it's just paced. I think it's paced a lot better. And you know what I think would have helped with this problem, Casey?
Yeah,
Is game evaluation,
yeah,
because that's what it's for, really. These are two people who are obviously super like deep into this project. They kept adding stuff. They kept adding stuff. They kept adding stuff, and I think that they may have lost sight of kind of the forest for the trees and the overall impact of their game, and that's the pacing problem, right? It's very, very difficult to identify pacing problems in your own game.
and I think to your
I mean,
point, Dave.
they
Sorry.
only had 7 years, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
I guess this is the part where when you're swimming in money, it doesn't matter. I love to push you, Dave. So I would absolutely highly recommend like projects doing evaluations
Mhm.
early, mid,
Mhm.
towards the end as well. Obviously, I mean more or less throughout the entire project. But it feels like there are some studios that have perks that they enjoy that others don't, and it's one of those things
yeah,
where when you
such as
are
$200 million.
yes, and then additionally with Silksong now it's another stratosphere. So
Yeah,
now like
no, those are
nothing
ludicrously
matters.
wealthy people.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also like they were always guaranteed their audience when they came back, because I do think that once you have that much money, some people continue to want that much money, and some people are genuinely motivated by making their thing. But if you make your thing, you still want people to play it. And so that not only do they have the money, they were kind of guaranteed their audience when they came back, which I think, if I had to guess, for these people from what their public statements have been, that's just as important to them.
yep. Manu, before you were cut off, you were saying something about the gameplay for Hell Is Us or
Yeah,
something like that. What was that?
yeah,
What is that? Because sorry, we were looking at the footage. It
yeah,
looks very interesting,
yeah.
but I'm very curious to hear like what is it?
Yeah, it's mysterious. It doesn't hold your hand in terms of story. You have to read, you have to talk, you have to take notes. You don't have really a map that you can use. You don't have a point of interest. That's why it feels like a Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls you don't know what you have to do, and sometimes it's very cryptic. You have the main quest. It's a semi-open world, so you have different zones, and you can load one zone from one to the other. You have like this APC, a vehicle that allows you to transition between the areas. A lot of exploration, a lot of mystery. There is some combat, but there is also a difficulty level, which is story mode, which makes it very easy for you. Yeah, and dark in the feelings, like futuristic, but not that much about some issue happening on Earth, some creature and stuff like that. But I like the feeling of it, and it's looking good. So I think it's also a studio to follow, probably. I think it's
Seems like
yeah,
it's one of the few studios
yeah,
coming out of Montreal that does
yeah,
original
yeah,
content.
yeah, absolutely.
And they're doing nice shiny AAA looking content, which again
Hmm.
it's not that common to see a game emerge that looks like that these days.
Yeah.
Got it. It's gonna be on my radar for sure. I will give you just quick because Manu, last time we spoke, I feel like you were saying, "Oh, I'm bored. I don't have games anymore," and you were
Ah,
talking about
really?
Well, you were talking about that you finished Resident
Silent Hill.
Evil
Silent Hill 2.
and Silent
Silent
Hill.
Hill 2. Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, so I was sick, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the opportunity to play some games.
Yeah.
And I actually finished Silent Hill in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Just like blew through it. And I gotta say, wow, there are so many. I would love to have a full hour with you just to discuss intricate design detail about Silent Hill, like in terms of the simplicity of the amount of things that are really in it from a gameplay, but they make it so the variety is so big considering how little content there actually is, and how limited you are with what you can and cannot do. So really good stuff. And now I'm knee deep in Resident Evil 2. I just escaped Mr. X, and he's more or less dead at this point. So that's kind of where I am at right now, playing Claire.
Good.
But I would love to maybe take an hour someday and just go through it.
There is the new Silent Hill is coming very soon. Actually, I think I've seen the marketing.
That's the F, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The wave of good game. I don't know if they will be good, but there will be games coming very soon. I think. Yes, that's gonna be more exciting. Let's not forget Battlefield is coming in 3 weeks now.
When is Yotai coming out?
When is what? Yeah, also soon. That I'm happy I don't have that one on my radar because I try to play exclusively on PC lately.
October 2nd. Yeah, I'm excited.
So
I do hope the first one was one of the things that I think I liked about it, and a lot of people liked about it, was it was an open world game that didn't feel completely unmanageable. Like you could kind of 100% it in
that's true.
20 hours,
what is that
maybe 30 hours.
Ghost of Tsushima.
And I really hope they don't fall victim to sequel bloat, which we've seen many times.
I don't have a good feeling about this game. I mean, I'm sure it's a really good game.
Yeah.
From the perspective of, okay, do I really want to go back to doing all this crap that I did a couple years ago?
The postman missions, like you go, you deliver, you go. I think there is that you feel this repetitiveness in the first one. Apparently, they say that they want to reduce that, but it's still an old gameplay. It's an open world gameplay that started with Assassin's Creed, maybe even some other games back then, so many years ago. But it's a good version of that. Right? Let's put it that way. And I think we can always be happy about a new IP. It's a new IP. I also write a piece. I think it was 2 weeks ago about, do you want new IP or do you want new gameplay? And what's the combination between the two? And this is old gameplay with a new IP. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of IP, just to go back then on Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil 2, those just felt so amazing to me. I feel like maybe the IP doesn't really matter. Yes, there is that nostalgia, and interesting enough, both games when I was young, I never made it past like the initial, let's say, 10 hours because I was just so scared to play them.
Oh, really? Oh,
yes. But now that I'm a grown up and I'm still scared of playing them, to be honest with you. I still have I don't have like the earphones over my head. I have them like sitting beside me. But I feel like the gameplay was so drastically different, obviously, from the older generation of games.
Yeah.
It absolutely captured me and compelled me to continue playing. But here, I feel like when we're looking at this game, it's like, okay, I mean, what's so interesting about this game apart from the backdrop?
The story.
The backdrop is great. The story is good. I mean, I think there were some complaints that people. The first game story was very predictable, but I generally like a well-told story, one of the old stories told well, and I thought they did a nice job with it. The backdrop counts, right? It is gorgeous, and there are various ways that they design exploration to help you kind of focus on that in the way that Assassin's Creed struggles with. And the combat's good, like it's not like, again, it's not particularly new gameplay, but they do a nice job with the kind of samurai concept that you start to see the Sekiro of one hit kills, and they sort of figure out how to make that still work. And the combat feels very, very satisfying. And and you've got these duels. The duels are highly cinematic, and they take place in these beautiful situations, and they feel tense, and they feel like they're very successful in what they want to do.
Yeah, I would say I can feel the fatigue that you have, maybe, Casey, about this type of game.
Yeah.
Right now, what type of game like that I would do more of a Far Cry, so shooter instead of melee. So I would absolutely do that, because I feel like the melee type of games still require some skills and some optimization of your loadout, of your skills, and things like that. So a Far Cry is easier, I would say, to play. And or I got the difficult one, and I go From Software and nothing else. I don't even, maybe Nioh 3 might be good, but it will also feel like it's the Canada Dry version of the From Software games.
I liked what was their previous one, the Three Kingdoms one. Wolong, the Team Ninjas one. I liked that.
Yeah. I have 8 minutes before I need to leave.
8 minutes
before we talk about one news item.
Yes. How about we talk about one thing? Well, I want to talk about this thing and get your thought process about it. Maybe it's not the thing you want to talk about. Clair Obscur, Game of the Year, maybe Game of the Decade to a certain in the RPG genre.
Decade in the FRPG genre.
This is, and maybe I'm not sure about the numbers here. I mean, this is, in my opinion, I thought it would be like at 10 million in sales.
What?
I don't know. I mean,
still a very niche product. Yeah,
it deserves it, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've done well. Obviously, they've made money, but it's a niche product. There's no way around that.
So, I mean, is this a good number though? 4.4.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's a good number for a single-player game. Yes, story-driven single-player game. That's not called Spider-Man or God of War.
Got it.
That's that's the reality. Yeah, I think it's good. For an independent, independent studio. I think it's good. I don't think anyone should forecast any single-player game, story-driven single-player, to more than 10 million units lifetime. And here we are only talking about a few months. So by the end of the year, they might be. Let's say they win the Game of the Year award. They win some award. There, you're gonna have a boost. You're gonna end up at 5 million. Then with the catalog sales, you can maybe reach 7, 8 in the life cycle. That's not bad, It's yeah. Let's not forget that the genre is more like Final Fantasy, okay? And it's not a Square Enix game. It's not a Final Fantasy game. So that's also a limit. If you look at games like Rare Fantasy or Metaphor Rare Fantasy, they're also never going to do 10 or 20 or 15 million units, even if they are very high quality game, because it's not completely mass market, right? It's not Assassin's Creed type of audience.
So, I think what's interesting, the phrasing you were using earlier, I think it's really the RPG more than the story-driven single-player game thing, because Assassin's Creed, that is functionally a story-driven single-player game, as is Ghost of Tsushima, which I just looked up, did 13 million. Now, obviously, it released in a slightly different market, and it had the benefit of like the staggered PS5, PS4 rather, Steam thing.
But just from a benchmark point of view, can you give us your thoughts, high level? Like, when it comes to comparison to Final Fantasy, and you mentioned, obviously, I'll mention Persona specifically. What are the numbers we're talking about on those types of games in the modern sense? Let's say Final Fantasy VII Remake. Maybe that one is an odd one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the number in mind, but it would probably be closer to 10 million. But it's a category that they've been struggling. I'm not sure like the latest Doom did that well. Doom, the Dark Ages. I'm not sure. We've not heard that they've sold like 10 million units neither.
Well, and that's a Game Pass game, so that's always going to be.
Yeah, it's just Clair Obscur is a Game Pass game also.
That's true.
Microsoft are breaking everything. You can't compare anymore. That's kind of the issue. We have even more when you have the Game Pass on PC. If it was limited to the Xbox, then you can at least compare the PC number and the PlayStation number versus older competitors. But no, you can't anymore. So it's very challenging. Nobody is really able to tell if a game is played on Xbox as a standalone purchase or as a Game Pass subscription. Nobody can do that. Just to be clear, we would do that if we could. So it's just assumptions, and also you have to look at, do people just try the game, they play 2 hours, 3 hours, and then they run away? They would never have bought the game probably if it was not on Game Pass. So it's very difficult to get the actual numbers.
So maybe final question before then you go, how big a bag of money was it for Clair Obscur to be on Game Pass? Estimation.
I don't know, because you have to estimate the number of sales they would do otherwise on the Xbox. Maybe they would do $50 million.
Well, Xbox and PC.
Maybe
PC
is
involved in that too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. Even if I'm questioning the cannibalization of Game Pass on PC, because you still, when you see the Silksong numbers on Steam, the game is in the Game Pass,
Yeah, but it's $20, so more people are probably willing to just go ahead and do it. And also with Silksong, so I would not be surprised if Clair Obscur saw a larger percentage. Than Silksong did. But also, I would be really surprised if they got a big bag of money, because that deal was signed before they became what they became. You know?
And also, let's not forget that there is a massive, significant share of the Steam audience that don't really have access to Game Pass. I don't think a Chinese player can just subscribe to PC Game Pass, or would do that. So I think that's also something to consider. So some players will always go to Steam because they don't want a Game Pass subscription, or they're just not interested in that model.
Wasn't there discussions about Game Pass coming to Steam?
Yeah, and that's the end. That's over. Everything is over.
That's it. I mean,
we discussed about that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Manu,
thank you very much.
East.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to go.
Bye. All right. Take it easy.
Dave, from your perspective, what is the I mean, do you want to talk about Borderlands 4 and that conversation, or
is there
something fun?
Yeah, we can talk about Borderlands 4. I mean, this is.
Are you playing it, by the way, or?
No, I'm not. I've seen some of it. But I mean, this is just it's a communications problem, really. I mean, obviously, like best practices in the gaming industry is to release your games working well. So that's not really news to anyone. But like, Pitchford is a guy with a lot of money. Like, he did get to where he did, talking a little loose. But also, things are a little less loose than they used to be. And if I was on the 2K communications team, I would not be happy about some of the public statements being made.
Is this like is this a what is it called? Not cultural. Is it called like when it's like, a generational? That's the word I was looking for. Is this a generational shift in terms of you have these old people who are, in charge of some companies and stuff like that, and how you used to talk to your customers, maybe, and I like using the word customers, right? But like, if you go back 10, 15, 20 years ago, where there were fewer games, you have more control. Now there's less control and there are a lot more competition. Is this a generational thing? Because I want to show you something else, but I'll let you comment there.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. And also, you got to remember, like, we are still a young industry. Like, talk about the 80s as like the start of what begins to resemble the modern game. That's 40 years ago. Like, a lot of the people who were there at the beginning of a tiny little thing are still there, and it's changed incredibly. So I do think that we are still in a place in the gaming industry overall where the old guard is still there, and they had their formative years when they were, in their 20s in garages, just cowboys, and like, things were really different then. You weren't managing teams of thousands upon thousands of people and millions upon millions of dollars. And when at a certain point in your life, it becomes harder and harder to change your mode. The years start feeling a lot shorter.
And I think, once you reach a certain point, maybe you can afford it. It's probably better to have somebody managing your accounts.
Yeah. And it's kind of there is something relieving to see people talk, because everyone's talking about in this way behind closed doors, because everyone does stuff like that. And so there is something a little refreshing to see just a dude out there saying what he thinks. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just to give people the benefit of the doubt in some cases. I mean, obviously the internet loves to kind of like blow stuff up and make a bigger deal out of something.
So this tweet is super interesting, because
One.
this also shows.
This one?
He says, "I know a lot of you are dead set on playing 4K with ultramax settings and using 2 or 3 old hardware." Even that tweet is showing a perspective of a slightly older industry, because 2 or 3 year old hardware at this point can be functionally top of the line, easily.
Yeah.
The cycle is not as short as it used to be. Yeah, a 4060 should be able to play 1080p, definitely. And like I do think, again, this is a generational thing, that it used to be the hardware cycle moved a lot quicker, and no one expected to be able to play a PS3 game on a PS2, to use a really cut and dry example. And you had similar expectations out of the PC space. And that's just not the way it is anymore. People don't upgrade as quick. The hardware upgrades are not as distinctive or as important as they used to be. And you have to fund the development of a gigantic $100 million plus game, and you need a lot of people to play that.
Yeah. I will give you an example of something that ran amazing and still maybe runs amazing. I mean, Counter-Strike 2, maybe not the game that pushes boundaries in any shape or form, but on my 2017 PC, it performed really great. Starts really fast. You can get into game very fast, and that's a 1070 graphic card that sits on that other PC. So I think there is something to yes, you want to maybe do some things that pushes boundaries, or not boundaries, pushes the the limits on hardware requirements and stuff like that. But I think is this is this more of a communication issue than a or is it like a combination of you releasing a product that is not up to par, and then you're just adding fuel to the fire kind of thing?
That seems to be the case. Again, I'm not Digital Foundry. I'm not. I don't have a good handle on how bad the performance problem actually is, but we do have a handle on how bad it is from a communications standpoint. So it seems like there are problems. They are probably being worked on, and public statements are not helping that.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of public statements, I want to show you something that is really cool, and I think this is where the disconnect is. And obviously, I'm going to show you a live game. But here's a cool thing. I was sent this by a friend of mine, and this is Peak. We're looking at Peak, and here's they put out this patch. This was this was a week ago. And they were I feel like the language here and how they talk to the players is really cool. And it obviously speaks a lot to kind of who they are as a studio. But here, hey, sorry about the campfire on the tree yesterday. So very honest and simple communication, and direct as well about, okay, we made a mistake. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. This type of thing feels like, is probably what the old guard needs to learn more about, being closer maybe to their communities.
Well, I think the problem is the old guards. What we're seeing from Pitchford is their version of that. That is their kind of natural way of speaking, and that's what we like about the Peak stuff. That's just they're talking like humans. And the thing about being honest and straightforward is it's a double-edged sword. But I mean, also, I think that style of communication, we've seen that very successfully in many places. I think Valheim is an incredible example of communications overall. But it also it gets harder and harder to do the bigger your team gets. So an older version of Bungie, they did a really good job of continuous, honest communication But that's a major operation, and it needs to be very careful, even as it seems casual. And so it gets harder the bigger you get.
Got it. I mean, how important is quality of communication?
Quality, I'm not sure that word really applies to communication. It's not about like some kind of objective measure of what's good and what's bad. It's what meets the moment and what works for what you need in your situation.
And do you have any general like recommendations? Should people talk to you about, hey, how do I communicate?
I think so. I mean, again, to return to game evaluation, that's part of what we do too. Is we're not just talking about the game; we're talking about how are you going to talk about the game and what is the best way to approach this.
Got it. So
there might be times when we would recommend a much more formal approach. I think in the case of Borderlands, I would recommend a more formal approach and just be like, "This is what we're doing. This is what we're seeing. Here's how we're working on it."
Don't make it personal. Like, don't make it like
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's move on to talk more about like more fun stuff. Is there anything that for you sticks out from the newsletter this week?
Let me pull that thing up.
I mean, I'll share it with you and help you navigate. I mean, there is a Roblox thing, Steal a Brain Rot.
Yeah, Roblox and Fortnite now. That's I think this is one of the first times we've seen it. And what's interesting about the Steal a Brain Rot and Fortnite is it's made by a different developer, but it is officially licensed. So
okay.
we're seeing this kind of long term codification of the UGC market. And so I think this is a big step in that. So a game that has succeeded across these two platforms without being a ripoff. That's interesting to me, and just Gen Alpha as hell.
Now I'm very curious to see the differences between these two in terms of like content and gameplay. But you're saying so it was made by somebody else, but it's licensed or it's still owned by the original creator.
It's not a ripoff. It's legit, basically. Is the upshot.
And we spoke about this for Peak. Do you remember that when we had like that?
That was a ripoff.
Yeah. But we spoke about potentially, are we living in a generation of you need to make sure to make a version of your game on Roblox and Fortnite?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I mean, a lot of games don't translate to that, but a lot of them do. I mean, you're not making Silksong on Roblox.
I was going to say, maybe you make a version of Silksong and then you point people and say, hey, you want to play the real thing? Go to Steam.
Yeah, no, I do think it would be smart for people to start doing things like that because, well, I was going to say, why not? Well, there are a lot of reasons why not. For instance, like development costs and whatever. But there is definitely the argument to be made with a lot of things. Like you could even do it with like older properties, like like Gang Beasts or Human Fall Flat or these kind of memey older games. They could just release something into Roblox and be totally happy with making some money there, or send people onto the full version elsewhere.
Now I'm getting some other wacky ideas. I'm not sure how or what Roblox thinks about this. What if let's say somebody has a YouTube channel.
Let's say.
And then they release their YouTube video in Roblox.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like it. Someone should do it.
Right? Isn't that? I don't know how they look at that. Or
should we release the games industry executive summary for all the kids to watch?
I think the kids would learn a thing or two.
Yeah.
But like on a serious note, let's say Silksong as an example, they might not have the capacity, and I'm not sure about the capabilities of playing video in these games or.
I mean, why not? Like I mean, again, I'm not a Roblox developer, but you can play video. Like, I don't think it would be impossible to like have someone exist in their little 3D environment and have a screen on up there and play video on there. It's very difficult to imagine that would be impossible.
Because I'm seeing this opportunity now where people can, let's say, if you have like a it's almost like a combination of Netflix or like where you have like let's say you have episodic content and it gets released on Roblox at the same time as it's getting released in YouTube or whatever, and now you have all these people sitting around watching the same video at the same time, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite tried something like this, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
but Roblox is very different than Fortnite. Let's talk more about this after.
I feel like absolutely, and I just to kind of like end on this. I was googling this at the same time. It seems like it is possible to watch videos inside of Roblox, which is, I think, it opens up doors, and I'm not sure if people are aware of this.
Yeah, so definitely. Yeah.
We'll talk about this. I think there's a lot of interesting things that you could do there. Okay, anything else that would
Bring up the list.
Bring up the list. Okay, I will
bring up the list.
There is something about Vampire the Masquerade. There is something about
Vampire the Masquerade.
Skate.
What the hell is going on?
Wait,
there's what? That's actually happening?
It's so hard to follow that one. Or which part?
Vampire the Masquerade. K-pop. I would be so surprised if K-pop Demon Hunters did not come to Fortnite. The Sims movie, that's going to be big. I've never seen about that before. Margot Robbie is the perfect person to make that happen, and there's a lot of places you can go with that.
Okay, can you explain?
Yeah, I mean, like, they already look like Fortnite characters. Like, I don't think you would have to do a whole lot of stylistic adaptation at all. I remember seeing they're making a live action, or like there was talks about a live action K-pop Demon Hunters, which makes me so annoyed.
Can you explain what that is, by the way? Just so
everyone likes making live action adaptations of animation.
No, I'm talking about the Demon Hunter
K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay, yeah, this is a animated thing. It's about demon hunters that are K-pop stars, as well as demons that are K-pop stars. Super big in the like 7 to 15-year-old demographic, maybe a little older too, and it's cool. It really spread across the internet with a very distinctive art style and these incredibly exaggerated expressions and that kind of thing. And it's good. It's a well-made thing. When I watch it, it doesn't really feel like it's for me, but I can appreciate that it's good. And I hope they don't make a live action adaptation, because that sucks. But I hope they keep exploring. They keep exploring it, and it's got some good songs in there.
I'm sure somebody's
Golden. They're sort of like their flagship song. Was, I believe, the first K-pop song to hit Billboard #1 on Billboard in wherever Billboard measures.
Got it. I mean, K-pop is still big, I assume.
K-pop is big and getting bigger. I mean, I've talked about this before, but obviously a huge part of the American empire comes off the back of our cultural dominance in the post-World War II period. But like, when I look at the stuff my daughter is interacting with, and the stuff that is really breaking through in those places, so much of it's Korean, and I see that shift happening very strong.
Absolutely. I mean, you see that on Netflix as well when you're browsing, and you see, like, if cultural, impactful media in the form of, let's say, the movie Parasite just took over the world during that month or two or whatever when it released. And just to kind of like continue asking you about this specifically, I mean, Hollywood having the grips, let's say, or, impact, has that diminished, do you feel like, the past 5 years?
Hollywood's in bad shape right now. I mean, they got a lease on life with Marvel.
Yeah.
And that they ran that train as hard as they could, and it's very unclear as to what it looks like at once that well runs dry, which it is definitely. I mean, obviously people are like making movies and they're doing well.
The quality of those latest releases were not up to par.
No, and I think that, and I mean, like, overall in Hollywood overall, people do still make movies and they do still do well, but they don't have anywhere near the sort of cultural centrality that they have historically had, and that they managed to push further into the future with Marvel. They're struggling. I mean, I was in a theater yesterday, 2 days ago, watching the Demon Slayer movie, that was weird. I don't really watch that anime, but my friend was like, "Well,
Demon
come see it."
Slayer.
Like, yeah, Demon Slayer, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll watch that."
Yeah.
Incredibly weirdly structured movie. Like it definitely is part of an anime. Like it doesn't feel like a self-contained thing at all. But it was really well animated, super cool. But anyways, what I was meant to say is that I saw an ad before it for like a Christopher Nolan series they were doing as this. This is like the main. This is like the main theater in the Netherlands. So they're doing a Christopher Nolan series, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that. Is people returning to things that have already been successful, that people will want to, that people already know they would want to see in theaters. And this is what I think one of the only ways that theaters are going to survive is with more, and this is what we're seeing in culture
more
across the board. Everyone, new stuff is hard. We already know we like old stuff. And so like cultural institutions are leaning harder and harder on what has already been proven. And there's so much of it,
Is that a good thing or a bad
thing? Bad.
Yeah. I was gonna
cultural stagnation. I think it's hard to argue that that's like a positive.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, in my mind, before you even mentioned the name, I had that exact name. Who else has impact? I mean, if you don't want to talk about what's his name now, the Hateful Eight, no,
Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino. Are there even any other relevant directors who break boundaries and do different things that attract audiences anymore?
I mean, Villeneuve did well with Dune.
Dune.
I mean, Bong Joon-ho, though he hasn't gotten as nothing has come close to the scale of Parasite, but he's around. I mean, there's people are doing stuff. It's around. It's cool. It's just a lot more scattered.
Fair enough. Dave, do we see any bigger shifts or any upcoming shifts on the streaming side of things?
I mean, I think that's probably. I don't know a ton about that industry. I'll be clear, but it's probably like most of these things, a little top heavy, and they're going to start. We're well out of the era where Netflix just dumped a ton of money into production without really much thought of where it went. We're out of that era, and it's going to be tough times all around.
Do we predict any type of like consolidation, maybe?
Any what?
Consolidation? Because
I mean, I think streaming is just a mess, right? And we always see like waves of consolidation and breaking apart, and someone buys this, someone buys that, in this territory and that territory. We're going to see that continue to be a mess, would be my guess.
So let me tell you what I discovered recently. There is a service where you can, if you're traveling a lot to different countries, you can buy a digital SIM card, an eSIM. And you know exactly what you're going to pay. You can use it as much as you want, whatever, in that country, whatever, and then you just move on with your life.
Irolo? Is it Irolo?
I have no idea. I have to look that up. Because
I go to the US and I need a SIM card for that.
Okay, there you go.
And that's that's what I use. It's like $20. By the way.
Like
it's like $20, $30 and you get 20 gigs.
Something like that. Yeah. And you know exactly what you're paying and all that stuff. I feel like I assume somebody smarter than me have thought about this, like a service where you buy. Oh, okay. I just want to watch this movie, and it's on HBO or whatever. I'm not going to subscribe. Just like let me watch it through somebody else's account. That type of.
Yeah, interesting.
Right? Because
I mean, theoretically, I don't know. The problem with that, I think, is that the cell industry is like regulated, and SIMs are a thing that you buy. But there are, if you have a HBO account or a Netflix account or whatever, there's a big old EU LA which would probably nix out anything like that.
Got it. Because my normal behavior these days is to subscribe for a month immediately cancel because I know I just want to watch one thing or I want to, like, binge a thing or whatever, and I just want to move on with my life because I don't have other commitments to that platform.
Yeah, I got a clean house with my subscriptions. I got too many.
Okay, yeah, you can save some money on that front. Okay, Dave, it's been awesome talking to you today. Thank you so much
Awesome
for
talking to you.
providing all the knowledge and experience. I guess for those who are listening, please go to guysweekly.substack.com, subscribe to the newsletter, get it every Friday, 9 a.m., every Friday morning. You will know exactly everything that happened throughout the week. And then, of course, like, subscribe, all these things. We would really appreciate that. And that being said, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
See you next week.
Bye.